Now, starting from the first part, we did say that someone who does not take or completely does not take a particular food material or nutrient in the diet, or takes inadequate of it, will develop the deficiency diseases. An example is when children do not take in enough of the proteins. When children do not take in enough of the proteins in the diet, they will definitely have what we call a stunted growth. Stunted growth. Now, what it means by stunted growth in this case is that this child does not grow fast enough. You look at a child who is 5 years, 10 years. Compare this child with someone who has well-nourished. Put the two kids, one who has properly managed diet and one who has poorly managed diet, missing the proteins. Then at 10 years, you might think the person or the child who is well taken care of is older than the other one. Why? Because this other child does not have the proteins, and proteins, the function of the proteins in the body is growth. So, how do you expect this child to grow without the proteins? That's why they suffer from what you call stunted growth. And this is a deficiency disease that is known as kwashiorkor. That's the first part of a deficiency disease. So proteins are very critical for everybody, starting from the child, the children especially. They are very active and also they are growing, so they need the proteins. Now, someone who does not take in iron in the diet develops a disease known as anemia. When someone does not take in iron, then this person develops a disease known as ammonia. Why? This is because the blood without iron fails to make enough of the hemoglobin. It does not form enough of the hemoglobin, and therefore the transportation of oxygen inside this particular individual will be inadequate. Person who does not take in enough iron will have a problem. The problem is there will be development of ammonia. Ammonia is a disease of the blood. It is the inadequate amount of blood. But specifically, we are going deep into this and saying that it is because when the iron is missing, then the formation of hemoglobin that requires iron is not there. So if the hemoglobin is not formed, enough of it is not formed, the transportation of oxygen in the body will be affected. Now, the fruits that contain iron, those ones who don't know, is, for example, we have the red meat, we have the liver. Actually, the liver is the best. It has the highest amount of iron. And then we have dark green vegetables, for example, spinach. And of course, without forgetting milk. Milk is a whole milk. It has all the food requirements. It has the proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, and so on and so forth. So, red meat, the liver, the dark green vegetables, such as the spinach, and also the milk. My preference, however, will be the liver, because maybe the red meat can also come with its own challenges. But the liver is the best. Now, scurvy is a disease that comes about as a result of someone failing to take in vitamin C. When someone does not take in vitamin C in the diet, then this person develops scurvy. But what is scurvy? This is the weakening of the skin, or this disease that leads to the weakening of the skin, the bleeding of the gums, and also may develop into rashes. In other words, it is the complete breakdown of the immune system that can result into attack from the microorganisms in the atmosphere, either through the skin, by developing the rashes and so on and so forth. So someone who has a scurvy normally has a skin which is very rough, wrinkled, because you're not getting enough of the vitamin C. And also sometimes when you, even without brushing the teeth, you discover that your gums are bleeding. You know, there is bleeding when you're brushing, which is different from the bleeding without brushing. When you bleed and you're brushing, that one may not be a very big problem. Of course, if it happens, you need to also to check on your dentist. But under normal circumstances, sometimes when you're doing it so roughly, you can affect the gums. But if your brushing is very normal and you're bleeding, you need to see the dentist. However, the bleeding I'm talking about is one that takes place without any brushing. You wake up in the morning, you're bleeding, you just sit in the course of the day, when you spit the saliva, you have the blood passing through the saliva. Now, vitamin C is mostly found in the citrus fruits. We find that in the lemons, the oranges, the kales, as well as the tomatoes. We find a lot of vitamin C in these particular fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. That is why it is important for us to be able to factor in that. Sometimes I see people when they go to restaurants, they are served with some salad. Then someone removes the salad and then eats the rest. Don't think those people are fools. They know you require the salads. Salads are actually antioxidants. They break down the oil in the meal you're eating. Help in the oxidation of the oil inside the meal, so that the oil does not affect your body later on. But you remove the fruits and the vegetables, put them aside, then what you're having are two problems. One, the oil will be intact. That means you're going to develop heart-related diseases, and then you also miss out on vitamin C, which is an important component. I want to discourage people from using the juice. Take the raw fruit. It's better source of vitamin C. Now, vitamin D is also important in making strong bones and teeth. Strong bones and teeth. An individual who has, who lacks this particular vitamin D will develop a disease that will lead to the weak bones, where these people have what they call bow legs. They develop the bow legs. Someone has the legs which are curving inside or sometimes curving outwards. These are people who have problem with vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is found in almost all the animal products, especially the meat products. But remember that when you eat these particular products, you require the sunshine, which has got the energy in the processing of vitamin D on the skin. I'll repeat, after taking in the meal that is rich in vitamin D, you require the sunshine energy that will help in the formation, proper formation of the vitamin D in your body. I want to dispute the fact that vitamin D is found from the sun. If you don't eat and you go to the sun, you can't get the vitamin D. You require the food and the sun together, so that the sun will help in the conversion of the food into the required vitamin D inside the body. Now, the strong bones and teeth will also require that one takes in calcium in the body, in the food. You also require calcium. If you take the calcium apart from the iron, then you also get the strong bones and the teeth. If you don't take the calcium, then you will have very weak bones and teeth. You can't even break down the bones when you're eating. You can't chew the food properly. Don't misuse your teeth by opening the bottom tops. We have the openers because we weaken them. So take enough calcium. Proteins are bodybuilding foods which make help in the formation of new cells. They help in the repair of the worn-out cells after injuries. They help in the formation of new cells. That means they help in the growth of the body. When the new cells are formed by cell division, then they add up, they differentiate and form the organs. When organs are formed, then an individual grows. So the proteins are very important for growth by individual. The proteins are also very important in the formation of the chemicals in the body, such as enzymes. Enzymes are protein materials or protein chemical substances, as well as the antibodies. And these proteins can also be broken down to release the energy. Now, we are saying that the significance of proteins, apart from the bodybuilding, is also the formation of the enzymes and the antibodies. But some cases, it can happen that maybe you don't have food and you stay for a very long time without food. Once the body exhausts the carbohydrates and the fats, then it will start now to oxidize the proteins to be able to provide the energy that it requires. So it can provide the energy when it's the last resort in the body. You can get the proteins from the fish, the chicken, the eggs, milk, and the rest. Vitamins and minerals are required mostly in small quantities, and they are found in mostly fruits and vegetables. Fibers hold the food together as it moves along the alimentary canal, and therefore helping in the prevention of what we call constipation. They're mostly found in fruits and vegetables. Carbohydrates and fats provide the energy when they're oxidized, and they're present mostly in potato, the grains, the cassava, the pasta, the rice, wheat products, and so on and so forth. Water, 70% of the body as a solvent. Therefore, very important to take water into our body. So that basically is what we call a balanced diet, comprising of all the materials that I have mentioned in the course of our lesson. Thank you very much for listening. Let's meet in the next lesson for more discussions.